Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Fantasy Football Code Red on Enravio.com.
Order the code red!
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Hey, we're back on Fantasy Football Code Red after a brief hiatus for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yes.
Hope you guys all enjoyed. Porterhouse, how'd you do?
I ate a lot.
Ate a lot?
The way it went. How'd you do, Admiral?
Oh, I ate a lot and then jetted my wife off on a surprise trip to Aruba to celebrate our 11th wedding anniversary and her 40th birthday. So we spent a week down in Aruba, did nothing but drink and a couple of other things.
You have my jealousy?
It was great down there. Had a
I
great
take
time.
my wife nowhere. So there you go.
Well, unfortunately, I must have picked up something on the plane heading back because came back with a nasty upper respiratory infection, so you'll have to excuse me if I lose my voice halfway through the show, although that may not be a bad thing.
It'll be just fine.
All right, man, so we didn't, no show last week, so let's kind of jump into things and get you caught up on what happened in Week 13. Top performers in Week 13, quarterback Peyton Manning, what a shock.
Was a monster last week. Your man crush has been outstanding all
Just
season long.
completely and totally outstanding. I mean, 22 for 35, 403 yards, 5 touchdowns. Did throw the 2 picks, but you know what? This guy has been money week in and week out. I think there was 1 week where he had an okay week.
He got off to a slow start in that game last
He did
week.
that.
That's the funny thing.
Oh, I thought you meant the season.
No,
with
the
that
season
7
last
touchdown
week,
game.
They were down 21-7 last week. I mean, he got off to a slow start.
He did.
Poured right back.
Now, while we're on the subject, we do have an issue out in Denver today. Apparently very, very cold weather.
It's going to be 17 degrees at kickoff, but with the wind chill, it'll be, inside of 10.
Inside of 10, I'm hearing 5. Peyton doesn't have the best reputation for playing in the cold weather.
1 and 5 when it's below, I think, 30 degrees.
But I spoke with Peyton earlier,
Okay.
and he says that he wants to go out today to prove to all the naysayers that he can play in the cold weather. He told me to expect at least 3 touchdowns today. So if you got him, stick with him.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that's funny is 1 and 5, but when you go through it, it's like, okay, usually on the road at New England, like late in the season or in the playoffs, where, they were underdog in almost every single one of those games.
Yeah.
They had the game last year against Baltimore where the Ravens got that fluke score at the end of the game and that propelled them to the Super Bowl, basically. So it's not like he's been awful. He's not always been.
He
the
hasn't
best
been
team.
awful,
It's not always been. He just has always had the best team.
You know what? I've got him starting in one of my playoff leagues today. I actually made the playoffs in 4 out of 4 of my leagues. Unfortunately, not as fortunate as you.
I only made a 1 out of 2, but I do have a bye.
But you have a bye. I didn't get a bye.
I'm into the semis.
I need Peyton in a big way today. A running back last week, Adrian Peterson, 35 carries, 211 yards.
The Bear run defense might be the worst run defense I've ever seen in my life.
Terrible. And
I watched the game. It was, I was with my cousin who's a diehard Bears fan, so I was having fun, picking on him during that game. And it looked like the Vikings were dangerously close to being the first team ever to play two ties in a row.
Unbelievable.
But they won the game with the 2 minutes to go in overtime.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that Chicago Bear run defense in a little while. Wide receivers from last week, we had a bunch of them. I couldn't narrow it down to one.
No, there's too many great.
Josh Gordon, for Cleveland against Jacksonville, 10 receptions, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns.
They refuse to cover him.
They just can't cover him.
And Jacksonville won that game.
Yeah.
They've won 3 in a row. The team we were making fun of early in the year.
Yeah.
Is 4-9 and won 3 in a row.
I think they got Kubiak fired.
And no, absolutely. And basically a game and a half behind both the Giants and the Jets.
Yeah, amazing. Then we had Alshon Jeffrey, 12 receptions, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Not bad for your number 2 receiver.
Not bad for your number 2 receiver, and this guy's just been lighting it up.
Or your backup quarterback.
Yeah. And then you can't ignore Eric Decker. Only 8 catches, 174 yards.
8
Only. But he's got 4 touchdowns.
It's like the Chiefs refused to cover him. They put the rookie Cooper on him, and Decker took him to school.
He got 4 out of 5 touchdowns out of Peyton.
Amazing. The other one was Marino.
And the other one was Marino.
No Welker, no Demaryius Thomas. Julius Thomas didn't play.
Unbelievable.
It was Decker and Marino that caught the balls from.
So it was a big week for wide receivers.
Absolutely.
And then we had our tight end of the week, which is no
Big shock.
And no big shock.
It's either one or the other every
yeah,
week.
it is. Gronkowski last week, 6 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. So those were the big performers from Week 13. Let's get into our man crush segment quickly. We talked about Peyton already. He had an awesome day. The other tight end rather that we
Jimmy
talk about
Graham.
every week, Jimmy Graham, had a good week. Only 3 catches, 42 yards, but he did score. And then Jamal Charles, your boy, had a nice week.
He played well again. Honestly, I feel like in the two Denver games, they didn't give him enough touches.
Yeah.
I mean, your best player's got to get more than 21 touches.
Absolutely.
19 for 90, I think it was 91, 93
Yeah,
yards.
he had 19 for 93,
and then he had 2 catches.
a couple of receptions, 27
get
yards.
into the end zone, but against the best team, against your big rival, he's got to get 25 to 30 touches. He can't be getting 21.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so folks, if you're still watching us, if you're still
Alive in your place.
subjecting yourself to this nonsense, that means you made the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So congratulations. Hopefully we're here to help you a little bit. Let's go over the injury update quickly. Not a ton of huge injuries. I guess the biggest news that we just got was that not only is Darren McFadden out, but Rashad Jennings also out. Marcel Reese is going to carry the ball today.
And against the Jet D, as bad as the Jets are, last time we did a show, both the Jets and Giants were still relevant.
Yeah.
Just so that everybody realizes.
Right.
You miss 1 week. The week that we were there, the Giants lost to the Cowboys.
Yep.
The Jets have lost 3 in a row now.
Right.
And both teams have become basically irrelevant. But the Jet run D is still the best in the NFL.
It's the one thing that they still do really,
Absolutely.
really well is they stop the run. So, you know, if you have Jennings, obviously you get him on your bench. Same thing with McFadden. If you're desperate for a running back, you know, maybe you take a shot with Reese, but I don't like that play at all.
At this point, if you're in the playoffs, you should have a little
You
bit of
should have
depth, and
something
you should have
better
been
than that.
prepared, and you should have somebody better than Marcel Reese. I'm not saying Reese won't catch a couple balls out of the backfield or whatever the scenario is.
Right.
He's just not
Listen,
someone
if
you
you
wanna
have
live
to
and die
play
with.
him, you have to hope he gets into the end zone.
Pretty much, you got to hope for a 1-yard touchdown plunge.
Yeah. Percy Harvin out.
He really never played, and I don't think we'll see him for the rest of the
No,
year.
I think he's done. Aaron Rodgers still out. He did practice this week, but they didn't feel.
If they lose this week, I would have a hunch that they would not play him the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think they shut him down at that
I
point.
think why
yeah.
would you play him if he's got a chance of getting
Makes
really
no
badly
sense.
hurt?
Makes no sense. But I've seen crazier things happen. Jay Cutler's still out.
But he'll be back soon, even though McCown's playing well. I just think Cutler is one of those guys that's a little crazy. Bears are still in the hunt despite the loss last week, only a game behind Detroit. Nobody really wants the Central, so not the Central anymore. The North.
The North.
My bad.
Christian Ponder out.
Yeah, Matt Castle. They're the same quarterback. One
Yeah.
throws better, one runs better, but they both stink.
Yeah,
If
I don't
playing
think you're
either
starting
of
either
them-
one of those guys.
If you're starting either one of them, you didn't make the playoffs.
Kyle Rudolph also out.
It's been a non-factor the last couple of weeks anyway.
Really, not a big loss. Probably
No.
wasn't getting started anyway. Carson Palmer will play today, though.
Yes, I mean, and against a Ram pass D, that's not great.
It's questionable. It's average. And
I mean, it depends on the matchups you're going up against. I'm sure you have a better starter, but if the starter has a bad matchup or is playing in the East with bad wind, it could become
well,
a bit of a
here's
dish.
where that really comes into play: is if you've got Floyd, if you've got Fitzgerald. You know, that's where the Palmer issue really becomes important. If Palmer plays and he's healthy and the elbow's okay, you know, then you start those two guys pretty confidently, even though Floyd's got the ankle issue, but he's playing.
Well, Arizona's a game out of the playoffs. Seattle plays San Francisco this week, which means that Arizona wins. If Seattle does beat the Niners, which I don't think is a foregone conclusion, I think the Niners probably win today.
Yeah.
But if Arizona does win, they could be tied for that last playoff spot yet again.
Yep.
And they still have a showdown with the Niners to go.
Yeah. Tony Gonzalez questionable against Green Bay. I think he's going to probably play.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago I said he's questionable, they're in trouble, he won't play, and he came out and played.
Yeah.
I just think that Tony's trying to play out the season as hard as he can.
Yeah. Reggie Bush questionable. This is an interesting one because I'm pretty sure he's a game-time decision. Big loss if he doesn't play.
Yeah, because the Eagle D is not very good.
No.
I mean, and Bush could have like one of those crazy days. I mean, here's the thing: Stafford's going to throw it around the yard today.
He's going to throw the ball 200 times today.
No matter how windy it is, no matter how windy it is, and he'll get picked a few times.
Right.
But you'll see Reggie Bush. If Reggie Bush doesn't play, Joyke Bell is actually one of those guys that's a backup. That's a legitimate play today.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely would be active in the passing game. Gronkowski, they're calling questionable.
He's listed as questionable every week.
Every week he'll play. Stephen Hill, actually in a game where the Jets might be able to throw the ball a little.
Hill hasn't caught a ball in a month. Curley's back.
Well, Curley's
If
back.
there's a guy to throw to, it's
There's
gonna be
a
just
guy.
Curley.
You want Curley.
They've lost every game since Curley's been out. Sadly, the slot receiver shouldn't mean that much, but yet it does.
It does.
Jets haven't had a quarterback complete 10 passes in a game in 4 weeks. 10 passes.
Ben Tate, questionable.
Yeah, they played on.
Oh, I'm sorry. They
on
played.
Thursday.
They played. I'm
and
sorry.
He played.
I was in Aruba. I think I was actually severely intoxicated at the time, so I have no memory of that evening at all.
He played. He scored. It was fine.
Jordan Reed is questionable.
He'll play,
He's
I
going to
believe.
play. He's going to play. He's got the concussion issue. He's been symptom-free all week. I'm not thinking he's going to be a big part in the offense today, though. I just have a bad feeling about him today.
Well, I mean, they're going to go up against an angry Chief defense. It depends on how the Chiefs come out to play, though.
Yeah.
If they're going to sulk and they can get run out of the building in Washington, I expect them to actually play well and win the
I
game.
think they will play well. I think they will play well. Delaney Walker, game time decision with the concussion, and Vincent Jackson, hamstring questionable today against Buffalo.
I think he'll play.
Yeah, I think he'll play. I think he'll play. So it shouldn't be too many huge factors, in terms of injuries, at least at this point. I mean,
Bush and Jackson would be the biggest two you have to watch for. The other guys should all either play. Carson Palmer and whatever happens with Arizona around it. Also, the Ram defense becomes more viable if Palmer's not playing.
Yeah.
So just, keep an eye. We won't know that until an hour before game time, 3 o'clock Eastern. So
Yeah,
it'll
absolutely.
be tough for us to know.
All right, so we were off last week, so we don't have studs, duds, and sleepers to report from last week's games, but we certainly are going to give you what we have for this week.
Why not?
It's going to be really interesting. I mean, today's a day, you're in the playoffs, and, you really need to make smart decisions.
No, absolutely. You have to win this week to have a chance to get any money.
You do.
That's
You
what
do.
it comes down to.
You do, and you don't want to be 1 and out.
No,
You don't want to be that guy.
that guy sucks.
That guy sucks.
You don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be, what would you call it?
The one and done? What are you talking about?
Well, not the one and done, but, I guess if you lose in the championship, you're the best loser. Or
first loser.
The first loser. You don't want to be that guy.
No,
you don't want to be that guy.
Certainly do not.
So let's talk about studs this week. My quarterback this week, I am loving Nick Foles this week against the Lions. Foles and the Eagles are looking to find a way to separate themselves from the Cowboys. They have to win at home today against the Lions. Both teams are going to put up, I think, a lot of points. The Lions have been prone to turnovers. The Eagles should take advantage of that. Foles has been one of the best starters in the league, and he's been consistent. He's playing against a defense that gives up big plays. I think Jackson will have a big day. I think McCoy is going to have a big day, and I think Foles is going to have a big day.
Love Foles, too. I'm going to go head-to-head with you on this one. I'm going to say Stafford.
I love Stafford, too.
Plays very well today.
I love
Both
Stafford.
teams need this. 2 7-5 teams. Eagles have won 4 in a row. They're on a streak. I think Foles might throw his first pick this week, but who knows? I thought that last week, and they called it back. I think Stafford and Foles will duel with each other. Neither one of these teams has a secondary to speak of.
No, I have Stafford starting in one of my leagues, and I'm expecting a very big game out of him.
I would.
Very
I
big
would.
game out of him. All right, so let's talk a little bit more. We talked about it a little bit in the intro, but let's talk a little bit more about that Chicago Bears defense and how much I love DeMarco Murray today.
No, he's going to have tomorrow night. He's going to have a huge
tomorrow
game.
night, I'm
Yep,
sorry.
he's going to have a huge game. Huge game.
I mean, he's been consistent all year. He broke out with a big game on Thanksgiving Day, scored 3 touchdowns. He goes against that Bears run defense today who cannot stop anybody.
No, the Bears, I mean, you saw what Peterson did last week. I mean, that's Adrian Peterson, but be that as it may, everybody runs for 100 yards against the Bears.
Everybody.
Marino should have a huge game. It should be cold in Chicago tomorrow night. I think that's going to be. That's going to be a real good game. By the way,
You know what? It's going to be a real good game. It's going to be cold, so they're going to look to run the. They're going to look to run the ball. I think Murray gets at least 25 touches. Easily 100 yards and probably a touchdown or 2.
Nope, I agree. I'm going to go with Jamal Charles. I'm going to go with my man crush this week, just because I think a windy game in Washington. I think that they're going to try to get back to basics. They've gotten away from it a little bit.
Absolutely. They're
I mean,
gonna
Alex
find
Smith
ways.
has actually played well, but I mean,
Yeah.
better in the games that they've lost than the games that they've won in a lot of ways.
But they're going to find ways to get Charles the ball today, no
They have
question.
to. They have to. It's going to be a short passing game. It's going to be a lot of think and dunk. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 6 or 7 catches today.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Chiefs will win it, and I think that Charles will have at least 25 touches today.
Okay. My wide receiver, Torrey Smith.
Man, I love Torrey Smith today.
Loving Torrey Smith today against the Vikings. Great matchup against that team. You know, the Vikings allowed Alshon Jeffrey to go over 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, Torrey Smith's going to take advantage of that weak defense, and you know, I'm looking at him to have at least 100 yards through the air and at least 1 touchdown.
I'm going to go with Brandon Marshall tomorrow night for the Bears and McCown. Last week, I think Jeffrey had all the catches last week. I think Marshall says, throw me the ball this week. I think they'll try to put Chris Carr on him, man on man, like they can cover the field. I think that, I'm sorry, Brandon Carr.
Yeah.
And I don't think Brandon Carr will be able to do it because of the size differential. I think Brandon Marshall will get in the end zone at least twice, catch at least 10 balls.
Yeah, I like that too. My tight end this week, as much as I hate to say it against my Giants, but Antonio Gates. You know, playing in San Diego against the Giants. Chargers rough loss last week to the Bengals. You know, I think it's a chance for that whole offense to get back on track. You know, I can see Gates getting 6 to 8 catches, 80, 90 yards, and a touchdown today. I think it's going to be a good game for Gates.
I think Gates will play well. I'm going to take Vernon Davis. Not really much of a limit, but it's against Seattle, which makes it a little bit more intriguing.
Yeah.
I just think that it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think defenses will be prevalent, but I think that Vernon Davis will find a way to get behind the defense on one. Get in the end zone, maybe catch 6 or 7 balls.
That's a perfect segue into my dud quarterback because I'm going with Colin Kaepernick today against that Seattle defense. I mean, you know, earlier season matchup against the Niners and the Seahawks, you know, Seattle manhandled them.
No, they did.
You know, it was a game that, you know, was just ugly. And this one is in San Francisco, so that does make a difference. Probably not a huge difference, though. I think the Seattle defense is just the best defense in football right now. They're just awesome. You know, this is a team that kept the Saints to 7 points.
No, I get it.
You know, in a Monday night game, no less. And you know, Kaepernick is certainly no Drew Brees.
I'm going to go head-to-head with you. I'm going to take Russell Wilson as my dud this week. I think San Francisco does a good job on Russell. I think they
have
slow
to say,
him
I
down.
hope you're wrong on this one.
I know. I'm just saying, why not? Originally I had Cam Newton down, but I figured let's make it more fun and go head-to-head again. And I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. Those are the 2 that I thought were duds. I think Cam will struggle on Sunday night against the Saints as well, but I think that Russell Wilson in a low-scoring game will not produce the numbers that people expect. I think the Niners had that linebacker speed that's going to be able to contain that running a little bit.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, I don't love the Hawk receivers. I love Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
I love beast mode.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah. My dud running back this week, Chris Johnson against the Broncos. You know, it's very simple. You know, the Titans are going to need to throw the ball to keep up with Peyton. I don't care how cold it is. They're going to need to throw the ball. You know, I think Johnson's touches are limited because of that. You know, the Broncos' pass defense is pretty good. They should be able to key on Johnson. I don't think he does much today at all.
No, I agree with you on that. I think Alfred Morris will be my dud this week. I think the Chiefs will key on him, force RG3 to beat him through the air, see if he can do it. He hasn't seemed like he hasn't played well all season long. Talk about a guy going from the cream of the crop to really not much. So I'm going to go with Alfred Morris having a tough day. I think they'll put 8 men in the box and they're to beat him deep.
I would agree. All right, my receiver this week, I do not like Antonio Brown this week against Miami. The Dolphins defense, does a great job shutting down opposing wide receivers. They actually are giving up the second fewest fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. They're gonna double team him. I just don't see him getting much, in terms of any kind of solid production that you're gonna need in a playoff game.
No, I'm going to go with Steve Smith. And I was thinking about going Gordon on Cleveland just because I thought the cold, and he does drop the ball a lot, and they'll put Talib on him. I'm going to go with Steve Smith because you're going to play Gordon regardless. Mm-hmm. It's not like you can sit him.
Right.
So I'm going to say that Steve Smith is a guy that, if he was your flex guy, your third guy, I think he'll struggle in the Dome with the Saints tonight. I think that he'll get out of his own mind a little bit, start fights on the sidelines. He'll just be a little bit out of sorts, and I say Steve Smith has a tough time.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go against you on on your tight end stud.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that Vernon Davis is a dud today.
Okay.
Listen, the last time they played the Seahawks, Davis got 3 catches for 20 yards. I don't like anybody against that defense.
No, I really can't blame you on that. I mean, it hasn't been much. I'm going to go with Charles Clay, who was an early season pickup, and people seem to love a lot, and gets a carry every now and again as my dud tight end. I don't think Clay has been, I don't think he's done much lately. I think that Tannehill has gone looking the other way. Against the Jets, they didn't have to do much. All it took was 3 points to really kind of knock the Jets out of that game, basically. Yeah. But I don't think Clay has a big day against the Ravens. Not against the Ravens, against the Steelers defense.
Yeah,
today.
I would agree. All right, let's get into our sleepers, because that, my friend, could be where a championship is won or lost.
Absolutely.
My sleeper quarterback this week, Alex Smith.
You like Alex to play well?
I like him to play well if you need him. I mean, hopefully you're not in a position to have to play Alex Smith, but if you do have to play Alex Smith today, he's playing against Washington. From a fantasy standpoint, there's no question that Smith has been, extremely inconsistent. But against that defense, I like it. I like it enough where I think he'll get you a solid enough performance where he won't hurt you at least.
No, I agree with you.
And if you need to put him in there, if I was desperate for a quarterback for some reason this week, if I have Cutler or I have Rodgers and I have no other choice but to play Alex Smith, I think things could be worse.
No, I think Alex Smith will play okay. I'm going to go with Mike Glennon. Again, if you're forced to play Mike Glennon, you probably snuck into the playoffs, or like every team in your league made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But be that as it may, Buffalo's pass defense not very good, hasn't been good all season long. The Bucs, after they won the first one, seem to have found a little bit of a niche. I mean, last week they got blown out in Carolina, but that can happen to almost any team. Carolina's defense is that good. I think Glennon gets back on the winning track. He's been playing really, really well. He's got great receivers.
I like
the young
Glennon.
Tight end is good.
Yeah, I mean, I like Glennon. As a Giants fan, I have to ask you your opinion. If you could roll back the clock and have Glennon instead of Geno, what do you do?
As a Jet fan, you mean?
Yeah.
I would. You know what? The whole thing with Glennon in college, he had that Marino factor. Of the senior year, he threw a ton of picks.
He did.
And that's what
I think he threw 4 in that bowl game, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what set him back down. Looking at him now, he looks much more poised. But I don't know if that's the quarterback or the people around him. I mean,
you have to say something about Geno. He has nobody.
No, he has nobody.
He has nobody around him.
Glennon lost his running game.
Yeah.
Okay, he lost Martin, who was a top 5 pick in everybody's draft, maybe a top 3 pick in some drafts.
And he lost James.
And then he lost James as his backup, and now he's on Rainey and Leonard and stuff like that, and I get it. But he's got Vincent Jackson. Mm-hmm. He's got Underwood. He's got Mike Williams.
No question, better
he's got the young
cast.
tight end. The Jets' receiving core, when Curley was out, was Santonio Holmes, who really just has to go.
Yeah.
I'd cut him now if I could.
There's no
reason to have him.
He
He hurts your salary cap or something like that. But I'm not a capologist. And Stephen Hill hasn't caught a ball in a month, and they keep trying to sell you on the fact that was a good pick. Not a good pick. He can't catch, and he doesn't get any separation.
Yeah.
And Curley's back, so it gives him an option. Cumberland's a nice backup tight end. I mean, they don't really have anybody to throw the ball to. Bilal Powell's probably the best receiver they have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to say. If you put a gun to my head, obviously Glennon's playing better.
Yeah.
But
and listen, from a fantasy perspective, as a sleeper today, you could do worse with Glennon if you're in a position where, and you don't want to be in this position, but if you are in a position where you have to play this guy today, you might be able to escape out of him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, my running back sleeper this week, who probably shouldn't qualify as a sleeper, but I'm going to use him anyway, Eddie Lacy today against Atlanta. Lacy has been great at tearing up poor run defenses. And
Atlanta has a poor run defense.
They've given up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. I could see Lacy pounding the ball all day long.
I love watching a game in Green Bay in December when it's really, really cold. And you see a team that doesn't want to be there, has nothing to play for in their white uniforms, not able to keep any heat in, trying to just get through the day. And that's what I see the Falcons doing today. I think Lacy will have a big day. I'm going to go with Chris Ivory. I think that the Jets will get off a little bit today on the running game against the Raiders.
Yeah.
I think Ivory will have a decent day. I think he'll get in the end zone. I think that the Jets might actually, score 2 touchdowns today.
You know what? I would agree with that because if there's a week that Geno's going to be able to throw the ball around a little bit, it's this week.
And it should open up the
It
running
should
game.
open up the running game a little bit for Ivory, so we'll see what happens. My wide receiver this week, you might snicker, you might chuckle when I give you my sleeper, but somewhere over the Dwayne bow. I know you hate when I say that.
That was awful. That was as bad as it gets. But,
Listen.
I got you.
Dwayne Bowe against Washington today, folks. Listen, I think Alex Smith is going to have a decent game. If he has a decent game, he's got to throw to somebody. It's going to be Bowe. If you watch the game against Denver last week, Bowe is clearly the go-to guy. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his opportunities. I like him today for 80 yards and a touchdown.
I can see that
He doesn't
happening.
go off, but I like him for 80 yards and a touchdown.
No, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, again, they've thrown the ball effectively the last 3 weeks. I mean, the Chiefs' passing game has not been bad. They haven't lost because of their offense the last
Right,
3 weeks.
right.
The game, I mean, the defense kind of let them down against San Diego and kind of let them down against Denver last week.
Uh-huh.
But the offense has clicked, and Alex Smith had him at the 12 on Sunday
Yep.
to tie the game up, and
Yep.
went to Bowe and double. It was a bad idea. I mean, they had other options out there, but he just tried to force it to him. But it tells you who the number 1 guy is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Greg Little as a guy that if you're looking for a flex,
It's a nice
the Patriots are going to go and take Josh Gordon out of the game.
It's a nice sleeper.
Little might be a guy if you're trying to find that flex guy and you're not sure, and there's about 3 or 4 different guys. He might be the guy that catches 7 or 8 balls and maybe gets in the end zone. Patriot defense couldn't have been worse last week. As good as they looked against the Broncos a couple weeks ago on Sunday night in the second half, was how bad they looked all game against the Texans team that now has lost 11 in a row and had that coach fired. I mean, Case Keenum hadn't done a thing all season since like his second start. They made Ben Tate look like he was God out there, and he's a good running back, and he'll get a nice contract next year.
Yeah.
But be that as it
I
may,
gotta
the
tell you,
Patriot defense
that's a
looked
bad
awful.
situation down there in Houston, though. I mean, they're going to bring in a new coach. Rumor on the street right now is it's going to be Lovie Smith.
That's the guy they like.
Which makes a lot of sense. But their biggest problem is they can't bring back Schaub.
No, well, I mean, Schaub had the death threats.
They can't bring him back. Can you imagine if they bring him back next year and he throws a pick 6 in game 1?
It'll be awful.
It's over already.
For baseball fans, and I know your other show, Admiral, I mean, the thing that Schaub's brutality reminds me of is Doug Sisk when he pitched for the Mets. And they used to
God.
send the guy used condoms in the Mets.
Oh, my God, what they did to poor Doug Sisk.
They abused him. That's what they did
But
to
what
Schaub.
Doug Sisk did to us
As a Met fan,
almost
I know.
justified it. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, what they're doing to that poor guy down in Houston is just, it's taking it too far, in my opinion.
No, the guy's trying. It's not like he didn't lead you to the playoffs twice in the last 3 years or whatever
Yeah.
it was. But be that as it may.
All right, so my tight end sleeper this week. If you need a tight end, Brandon Myers might not be a bad play today against the Chargers. Chargers pass defense has been suspect. Manning still has weapons. I think the Chargers are going to try to shut down the long pass. I think it's going to force Manning to throw underneath. I think that's going to open up things for Myers a little bit. I think he might get some looks in the red zone. He's got the potential for 80, 90 yards today and a possible touchdown.
This is always the game. This is not always a game, but this is a game that's always intriguing because, these 2 quarterbacks were traded for each other.
Yes. So you could in turn ask me the question after all these
Yeah,
years.
after all these
Would I
years.
have preferred Rivers or Manning?
Would you have preferred Rivers and the following year's first-round pick or Manning?
I got to tell you, I think you can't argue with Manning. Two Super Bowl MVPs, no less. But
Even though Tuck could have won that first.
yeah, he could have.
He really
could
could have. Justin Tuck was that
He
good
maybe
that
should
day.
have.
He should have, I think.
But I think that argument is closer than people would expect.
Well, Phillip Rivers has been really good.
He's been really good, and we lost that first round pick in the following year. Interesting. That's an interesting question.
And the Giants were awful. I mean, the Giants finished, 6-10 that year?
Yeah.
I mean, Eli didn't win a game until his last game against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They came in, Kurt Warner was like 5-5 or whatever, and then they benched him, and they
Yeah,
went to Eli
yeah.
for the last
Which
6.
I disagreed with at the time. I thought
absolutely.
we should have stuck with Warner that
And,
year.
and that justified later when Warner was able to take the Cardinals to the Super Bowl to show that he's not done. It was more that the offensive line couldn't protect the guy.
Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting thing. Rivers is one of those guys, either you like him or hate him because he's a fiery kind of guy. I
Right.
like Phillip Rivers, I always felt, they've always felt, I think that they feel that the Patriots kind of cheated on them a little bit and they should have
Yes.
gotten to a bowl. When you listen to,
not kind of
I've never
that.
heard of Rivers say it, but I've heard Tomlinson say it.
Right.
So I wonder if they were just kind of robbed out of one here or there. Good team. Good team.
Probably. You tight end?
Tight end, if he plays, Delaney Walker is my sleeper.
Okay.
I think that he'll get open against the Bronco D. I think that he'll get into the end zone. Fasano had a pretty good day last week until he got hurt.
He did.
And I think that Delaney Walker will do the same thing for the Titans. Titans will show some heart. And the thing that makes the Titans dangerous is just because Fitzpatrick can run like a deer.
Yeah.
And he just will run around. And if they can't, if they're able to contain him and keep him from running, they'll own the game. But if they can't contain him, it's going to be it'll be closer than people think. I think they'll end up winning like 45-28 or something like that.
Yeah.
38-21.
I can see that. I can see that.
But I think he'll keep him in it.
Let's take a commercial break. We're going to come back in a couple of minutes, and I think what we should do is kind of focus on sit starts this week. Very important.
Absolutely.
We will take your phone calls, 855-446-7284. If you have a question, who to sit, who to start, you're not sure what to do, we'll try to give you our expert analysis.
Oh, absolutely.
855-446-7284. You can also log in on the chat box if you're, not the type that wants to be on the air in front of 6.8 billion people.
Absolutely. 7.8, I believe.
7.8.
7.2.
Listen, we're broadcasting to the world.
The whole world.
The whole world. We don't care how many people it is.
Somebody living in a hill in China right now listening to us trying to find out who to play.
All right, Chris, you want to take us out? We'll be back in a couple.
Stop putting it off and start painting it up today at Ben's Paint Station, featuring Benjamin Moore paints, Sickens, wood finishes, paints, and professional paint supplies, ideal for contractors and homeowners, stain paints and epoxies, family owned and operating, in business for over 55 years, professional and experienced help, located at 2 locations, 55B Route 25, Coram, Long Island, New York, and 1495 Plaza, Montauk Highway, Mastic, New York. Call them at 775-7435 and 775-8135. Ben's Paint Station, featuring Benjamin Moore Paints. Log on to the Radio Advertisers page today.
InRadio.com.
East End Screen Printing and Embroidery. Shirts for as low as $3 with print. 631-281-TEES. That's 631-281-TEES. 1355F Montauk Highway, Mastic, Long Island, New York. Go to eastendsilkscreenprinting.com for more info.
Hanging with the cool kids at InRadio.com.
Hey guys, it's Christine from Backwater. Tune in every Saturday night from 7 to 9 for music history, musicians' birthday blocks, trivia time, and the best alternative music around. Saturdays at 7, only on InRadio.com, broadcasting to the world.
Sud City Car Wash, Montauk Highway in Mastic, Long Island, New York. $9.99 early bird special Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. Phone 395-6114. Sud City Car Wash. Hand washes, hand waxes, and detailing. Interior cleaning, brushless, car wash club. Simonized products. Sud City Car Wash. Montauk Highway in Mastic, Long Island, New York.
Are back. What we're going to do is take you game by game.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Let's just go through every game, and we'll kind of give you an idea of what we think you might want to do in terms of who to sit and who to start. So the first game I'm going to throw out there are Colts and the Bengals.
Well, I mean, I would sit most of my Colts. The Bengals are a bully at home.
Starting with Luck.
Absolutely.
You know
Luck,
what?
Hilton.
And, you hate to have to start Luck in a playoff game, but if you can survive without him this week, if you've got a capable backup, he's got a great matchup next week against Houston.
Absolutely, he does.
But I think this is going to be a tough matchup this week against that Cincinnati defense.
Undefeated at home, and they're really bullies at home. That pass rush gets going. The secondary is pretty good. Teams have a hard time moving the ball in Cincinnati, and I think that Luck will have trouble today. And they haven't looked good.
And Luck.
Flat out, they haven't looked good.
Last 4 games, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
They
for
won
him.
last week, but, the Titans could have just as easily won that game.
Yeah, and, he does play better, inside. This is an outdoor game.
It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think Luck is a guy you might want to try to avoid this week if you can.
Absolutely.
If you can.
On the Cincinnati side.
Well, before we get over the other team, I don't like anybody in this game wearing a Colt uniform, to be honest with you. I mean, Donald Brown, don't like him.
Hilton.
Trent Richardson isn't even worth talking about anymore.
He is demoted. He's the third string running back.
And you know what? Some of it's got to be on him, but that offensive line has been so bad this year.
Luck's running for his life every
They were
week,
bad
too.
last year, but they did nothing to improve it this year, and I stay away from them.
Yeah, they went out and got Gosder Cherilus. That was the only guy I think they went out and got at tackle, and he might have played all right. But up the middle, I mean, Luck just runs for his life every week.
Yeah.
The Bengals side, they're all players to a certain extent. I think that A.J. Green is obviously a guy you have to play.
Obviously a guy you got to
Dalton,
play.
I mean, the Colt D is pretty good, but if you're in one of those leagues where where it's him or another toss-up kind of quarterback that you have, like the league where I have my bye, I have Romo and Eli Manning.
Right.
Not exactly the household guys. Romo plays every week pretty much because Eli's been that awful this year. But if you had like a Dalton behind him or, Dalton or a Roethlisberger, those kind of guys, you could always find a way because Dalton at home plays very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Browns and Patriots. I'm not liking much that's going on the Browns side of the ball.
Jason Campbell's starting today.
Jason Campbell's going to start.
So after all the injuries last week, but they've
Whedon
lost
is
3 in a row.
out. Campbell's in.
Lost at home to Jacksonville. Doesn't say much for your team.
Doesn't say much.
Joe Hayden got beat deep to end the game, their best player. Cameron hasn't been heard from in weeks.
Yeah, Cameron, I don't know what happened to Cameron. McGahee's a complete bust.
Absolutely. I do think you could throw on the Pats a little bit. It depends on the weather. If Campbell's able to get some time.
You know what? It may be one of those games where they're so far behind
that they're
going to have to pass.
That's why I think that, Agbanaya is not exactly a guy that you're sitting there looking to start. I do think Little is a guy. I mean, Gordon, you have to play. You got to take.
You have to. You have to take a chance there.
And Little could be a sleeper kind of guy with some garbage yards.
Right.
On the Patriots side, there's not very little you don't like.
No, including Edelman.
Edelman's been that good.
I like the running back situation this week with Vereen.
Yeah, he'll catch the ball out of the back.
Gronkowski's going to play, and he's going to do well. I can actually see Edelman getting involved in the offense this week with 6, 7, 8 catches. I like all my Patriots this week.
Yeah, Amendola's probably going to go up against Hayden and probably have a tough time. Every other Patriot, I would probably lean toward.
Which would actually open things up underneath for Edelman. So.
I think it will. I think it actually will.
Raiders, Jets.
Very hard to like any receiver in this game. I mean, McGloin's been so much better than I thought he'd be.
Yeah.
And even with that, he's not great.
Well, he's playing well enough, I guess, to keep Pryor on the bench.
Oh, absolutely. Pryor's healthy, and McGloin keeps playing. Without the 2 starting running backs, it's going to be a little tough on McGloin. And, you can throw on the Jets deep.
Yeah.
The Jet front 7 is excellent. The Jet back 4 is awful. Ed Reed
but
looks like
will
he's
they
lost.
be able to?
And will they have the time to do
They're
so?
certainly not going to be able to run on the Jets with Reese.
I would think no.
I can't see that happening. And as far as the Jets go, I can't see anybody I'd want to play.
Ivory would be the only guy I consider.
Maybe Ivory.
Ivory would be the only guy I consider.
Okay. Chiefs, Redskins.
Well, I look at the Chiefs. Obviously, Charles is a must-play. Mm-hmm. Bo is a guy you seem to like this week.
I like him as a sleeper.
As a sleeper, but that could be a flex player that could get some activity.
Yeah.
And you also liked Alex Smith.
And I like Smith as a sleeper. Like I said, as a not a desperation move, but as a guy that if you need somebody that's not going to go in and hurt you, and you've got enough depth on the rest of your team, you can get away with Alex Smith this week. Redskins.
Garcon's kind of earned the reputation of being a must-start in the league now.
I have an interesting situation. I have Garcon and Floyd. So I'm not quite sure if I'm comfortable enough with Carlson Palmer to start Floyd over Garcon because I think I like Floyd better this week.
Floyd has the easier matchup, He does. I mean, and he should get open. And again, the Cardinals are like the Bengals, and we were talking about this week 2. At home, they were just a different team.
Yeah.
And I think that Garcon has been consistent. They target him a ton.
They do.
And
They do.
I mean, Floyd might have the better matchup. I think Garcon is the number 1 guy, and Floyd's still the number 2. That's why I always lean that way.
Without question. But if you look at their stats over the last 2 or 3
it's
weeks,
very, very similar.
it's similar, if not better, for Floyd.
No doubt about it.
You know, it's a tough call. I'm going to probably go with Garcon there, though, for the reason you said. He's the number 1 guy. He's about as close to a must start as you're going to get.
On the Redskins, Alfred Morris also pretty good.
Yeah.
RG3, I mean, Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning have lit up the Chief D.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Redskins have the personnel on the outside that the other teams do. But to be honest, I mean, it's not like the Chargers are sitting there with the greatest set of wide receivers ever known to man.
Right.
That's why I think that Garcon could have a good day. Keenan Allen had a really good game. They shut down Demaryius Thomas last week, but Eric Decker went nuts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Morris, I didn't like him today. I thought they would try to focus on trying to stop the run in the cold and force RG3 to run around and throw. But it'll be interesting to see. I wouldn't play him, but you might have no choice.
You may have no choice. All right, Vikings at the Ravens.
Only Viking you play every week, basically, is
AP.
AP. You
Yeah.
don't need to. I wouldn't go anywhere else. Ravens are going to run amok. I would even like Ray Rice in this game this week.
I like Rice. Don't love him, but I like him.
He's okay. I mean, I'm just saying, as a second back. Or
Listen,
a flex,
he's got the opportunity to have a big game. No question.
They're going to jump out on him. They should be the better team. Torrey Smith should
I
be able
like
to get
Torrey a lot today, and the other guy I like is Jacoby Jones. As a sleeper, as a flex, if you absolutely had to, I can see Jones having a decent
And a
day.
waiver wire guy, Pitta, is off of the IR.
Yeah.
And he has been the favorite target over the years.
Yep.
And
In
there's
fact,
something
they
to be said for that.
cut Bernard Jones.
I'm blanking on the
they cut the running back.
Pierce.
Pierce. They cut him today to make room for Pitta.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just for the 1 week. I mean, they'll probably have a deal with Pierce to bring him back next week.
Yeah, you would think.
But be that as it may, Pitta will be, if he plays, he's the kind of guy that Flacco loves the guy.
Yeah. Falcons and Packers.
Depends on who shows up. I don't play either quarterback.
Nah.
Running back Steven Jackson and Eddie Lacy, I'd probably play them both.
I'd play both of those guys. I think Jackson's going to have a decent day today. I really do. And I really like Lacy a lot.
Yeah, I think Lacy will play well. I think that the Falcons have a couple of must starts. You have Gonzalez has to start.
Yeah. Jackson's a borderline must start.
Borderline must start. Roddy White starting to play a lot better.
Roddy White had a good game last
and
week.
He
finally.
might be a guy that you look at. I don't know if the cold's going to affect him or not.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of weapons. I mean, the fact that they don't win, they won last week, but the defense has been that awful.
And what do you think about the Packers receivers? You like?
Well,
Boykin?
you got to play Jordy. I think you play.
You play Jordy. I'm sitting Boykin this week.
Yeah, I sit Boykin too. I sit the tight end situation, the mismatch there. But that's a far cry, that team, from where they started the season to where they are now.
Yeah,
Is it?
no, it's amazing. Bills Bucks.
The Bucks. I think the Bucks will win this game. I think the Bills. You still have the Fred Jackson, Spiller kind of combination thing.
Right.
I think that Jackson could be okay.
Not liking Smith.
No, I think that on the other side of it, I don't think Manuel's anyone you ever consider starting at all.
Yeah.
And then Stevie Jackson. I mean, it's not really a household group there that I like. I wouldn't take anybody on the Bills. I maybe Fred Jackson would be the only guy I'd take.
Yeah. Now, on the Bucs side of the ball, I actually kind of like Rainey this week.
Yeah, I think he can play well.
In fact, I may have to use him this week as a flex.
You better
I like him a lot.
Glennon's a guy you could start.
Yeah, I think Glennon's startable. I think Rainey is startable.
Vincent Jackson
is certainly startable.
The tight end is, I'm blanking on his name, the young tight end on Tampa. He's definitely a player, but I'm blanking on his name.
I'm blanking too.
But definitely a player this week as well.
Yeah. Dolphins Steelers.
More of a defensive game. There's really very little I would start on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I don't love Wallace this week.
I don't love Wallace this week, but the one factor that you have to keep in mind with Wallace this week is he's back in Pittsburgh.
Not sure.
How does that motivate him? I think this guy's going to want to go off today. And he's been playing much better the last couple of weeks. I would probably start Wallace if I needed to.
I mean, again, as a flex, I wouldn't make him one of my top.
No,
two.
he's not a wide receiver, a WR1. He's certainly not that. But and on the other side of the ball,
I know you don't like Antonio Brown, but it's impossible to sit a guy that leads the league in receptions.
you can't. You don't sit him.
You
don't sit him, but temper your expectations for Brown today. I am telling you right now, he will not have a big day.
And if Bell is healthy and his Bell wasn't rung too bad, pardon the pun.
Yeah, well, listen, that's no joke.
He should be able to run the ball okay today.
He should. He should.
Dolphins
Or he hits his head in the first series and he's out. So
oh, as a guy that had him on my fantasy team, to have that touchdown taken away after he banged his head, what a dumb rule. He got into the end zone. He suffered the head blow, and they take away the touchdown.
But that's ridiculous. I guess.
The play is officially dead from where the helmet came off.
Yes,
But let the play finish.
Which makes sense if the guy's still trying to run or something. But if the guy's falling into the end zone,
They took the points away, and he got the head injury.
that made no sense. That's one of those calls where you have to use a little common sense.
I agree with you. I was pissed off with that one.
It was clearly a touchdown. And I don't like Big Ben today.
No, I don't think he has a big day because the Dolphin pass D is very good.
All right, here is the game of the week.
Light it up.
Hit that bell. Lions, Eagles.
Play everybody.
It's going to be a pinball game.
Play everybody.
Play them all. If you got them, smoke them.
Play Deshaun Jackson. The Lions don't have anybody that can cover him. You
Calvin's
play
going to have
Calvin Johnson,
a big day.
they'll have a big
Stafford's
day.
going to have a big day.
I don't care what the weather is.
I don't care what the weather is.
If Bush plays, he'll catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah,
a
watch
little bit.
Bush. Make sure he's in there. But
J.D. McCoy will play fine.
McCoy's going to be great. Foles is going to be great. Jackson's going to be great.
Stafford.
Riley Cooper may have a big day.
He's had a few of them.
Riley Cooper may be due for a
And
couple
Nate
of
Burleson
touchdowns.
is back, and he could play well,
Burleson's a guy I'd throw in there if I had to. This is a game that should be just a total shootout, and everybody should benefit
And
by
watch
it.
Zach Ertz. 2 touchdowns last week. Guy I've been
Yeah.
talking about for a while. Hasn't
Yeah.
really emerged, but he's starting to emerge the last couple of weeks. Could be a nice sleeper at tight end today.
Yeah. Titans, Broncos. What's going to go on there with that weather? I mean, Peyton says he's going to be good.
Now, I think that Peyton will be fine. I think that both teams will throw the ball.
Here's an interesting situation, though. Ball came out last week and had a little bit of a coming out party. How does that affect Marino this week?
I don't think it does. I think Marino's still the guy. I think Ball gets the ball a little closer to the goal line, but I think Marino has a pretty good day today.
Let me tell you, if Ball fumbles, he's done for the day. But they have to keep Marino in there for pass protection, no question, because Ball's not going to pick up the blitz.
And he's also a better pass receiver.
And he's yeah.
No, Sean's better at all that stuff.
I think No Sean's still a good play. Ball might be a sneaky play though.
Yep.
I think Peyton has a big day. I don't know which one of those receivers is going to have a big day, but one of them will.
I'm gonna say it goes back to Welker today.
I would love that.
Because I think that Demarius 2 weeks ago, last week was Decker.
I don't see it being Decker this week.
Yep, Julius Thomas is back, a guy that you could certainly play. For the Titans, I told you I like Delaney Walker if he comes in and he's healthy.
Yeah.
Kendall Wright is a guy to look at. I think they don't have a shutdown corner out there.
No.
I think Kendall Wright could be a guy that gets open. Even Nate Washington might play well.
Yeah. I mean, the Broncos' pass defense isn't bad. It's not bad at all. But you're right. They don't have a shutdown guy.
And Fitzpatrick in a really, really, really deep league where you had to play him.
Maybe if you're in a league where you have to play 2 quarterbacks the same week.
Pretty much. Like that, I was in a fantasy baseball league. You had to play 2 catches.
Yeah.
It was brutal. You can never find 2 catches like it did. Injury
All right.
game.
How about the Rams and Cards?
It's the game where you're not sure if Palmer's playing determines the entire game.
Well, he's supposed to play.
The Ram defense, the pass rush is good, but the Cardinal defense at home is outstanding.
It is.
I expect, honestly, I play both defenses.
Yeah. Listen, you know what? That's not something you overlook today, by the way, guys.
I
We
play
don't
both
talk about defense a lot, but, play the matchup today.
Absolutely.
Play the weather, play the matchup, because, a defense can absolutely, turn the tide in a close game for you.
One team gets a -2, the other team gets a +12. It's a big deal.
That's a big.
Patrick Peterson's the type of guy that is a returner that can take it to the house. So is Tavon
Yeah.
Austin. You got 2 punt returners that can each do it. If your defense and special teams are tied together, I think that I think Kellen Clemens struggles today. I think that the Cardinals are the better team at home and that they'll win the game. But
No question.
I don't love any of the offensive players. I'm not confident in any of the offensive players in this game.
I'm not either, only because of the uncertainty with Palmer. Because typically, like I said, I would like Floyd, I would like Fitzgerald. We don't know how badly injured Palmer's elbow is. It could be a situation where he just doesn't have the zip today.
It's going to be interesting. One of the interesting things, I mean, and the 4 o'clock game in the East Coast, the big game everybody's going to want to see is the Seahawks and the and the Niners. And we get blacked out here.
Yeah.
I mean, we have direct TV, so we get it, but we're blacked out because we get the Giants and the Chargers. But I'm going to be glued a little bit to the Ram and the Cardinal game because I want to see the matchup of Tavon Austin against the Honey Badger against Matthew. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup.
That is going to be interesting.
And they're both really, really quick guys, and
Yeah.
they both played very well the last few weeks. I'm interested in that matchup. I just want to see how that goes.
All right, let's talk about that Seahawks-49ers game.
Again, I like the defenses in this one. You always play Marshawn Lynch and Frank Gore, I got to be honest. But Gore has a tough matchup.
Well, you have to play both of them. There's no question.
But Gore, if you happen to have a third great running back, Gore would be the guy I'd sit over Lynch.
Yeah. I don't hate Russell Wilson today.
I do.
I don't hate him. I don't love him, but the guy's playing on a really high level right now.
Great quarterback.
Great quarterback.
Who would have thought? 3rd round pick, everybody passed on him twice.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to start Russell Wilson in a game today because I think my only other option is Eli, and
You're not that desperate.
I'm just not starting Eli in a playoff game.
I
I'm just not
understand.
doing it. But you're right. I mean, the rest of those guys, Crabtree, this is not the week you want to start him. Gore, we talked about it a
Vernon
little bit.
Davis is kind of a guy you have to start.
Yeah, you have to, but I don't like him today. I hate Kaepernick today. Don't like him at all.
And Marshawn I don't love him today because I think that they'll hit him, but he ran really well against them the first time.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see. I think the 49ers at home, the defense will play a little bit better against the run, but you have to play him, but I wouldn't play any of the Seahawk receivers today.
Nah.
Not even Golden Tate.
Nope. All right, Giants and Chargers.
The Chargers are good against the run, but I still think that Brown is definitely an option you have to play.
You have to play Brown.
And Cruz is a guy you have to play.
Cruz is a guy you have to play, but I'm doing that reluctantly. That's going to be a rough situation because I don't think Eli's going to be able to get the ball deep today. I think there's going to be a lot of short passing. I think the Giants are going to try to mix in the run. I can see Cruz having a decent day. Hopefully he finds the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Brown, I think, can have a pretty decent day. You have no idea what you're getting out of Knicks.
Nope.
Myers could be a possible, sleeper start. Reuben Randall
is a guy he's been the red zone guy.
He's been the red zone guy.
So in a flex league, he's not a bad play because he catches touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's the new Chris Carter.
He is. Only catches touchdowns. Chargers.
Prince Amukamara has done a pretty good, however you pronounce his last name. Amukamara has done a pretty good job. I think that Keenan Allen's a good receiver. I don't know if he has a huge day against the Giants. Haven't given up a 300-yard passer in quite a while.
They haven't.
Haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in quite a while. With all that being said, the kind of guy that hurts the Giants playing today is a guy like Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
A guy that kind of catches the ball out of the backfield, makes the Giant linebackers miss.
He's going to be a thorn in their side.
He's going to catch the ball, I think, 7 or 8 times, and I think he might even get in the end zone once.
Yeah.
And he would be a guy I would like. Keenan Allen has become someone that you have to lean on.
Start Allen,
and the same with Gates,
and probably Rivers. If Rivers is your quarterback, you
go with him.
You got to go with him.
You go with him.
You got to go with him. I'm going with him in a league that I had Aaron Rodgers, and I almost right before Rodgers got hurt, I almost traded. I had both of them up on the block. I was willing to trade one of them because I figured, you know what, Rodgers is not going to get hurt. Rodgers got hurt the next week, and thank God I still had Rivers.
Because you wouldn't be in the playoffs.
I wouldn't be in the playoffs right now.
Nope, you're right until he bucks, basically, so to speak.
All right, Carolina, New Orleans.
New Orleans 12-0, primetime home games since Peyton's been in there. Coming off
a bad game.
Oh, they quit in that game by the third quarter. A game everybody was looking forward to.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those type of things where you have to believe that they're going to come back and bounce back and play a really big game. I think the Saints will win tonight. Yeah. I don't know if they'll win in Carolina 2 weeks from now, but I think they'll win tonight.
Right.
And I would play most of my Saints starters.
I would play most of my Saints.
On the Carolina side, I don't love Cam today.
I don't love Cam today.
I think Cam will get picked a couple times. I think that, D'Angelo Williams might have a tough run of it today. I think they'll fall behind and have to throw.
The only thing that might help Cam is garbage time.
Yep, that could be it.
All right, then Monday night we have the Cowboys and the Bears in the cold.
Play your skill players. I like McCown too. I think McCown will play
I like
well also.
I like McCown. You know what? I have to say, there's nobody I hate in that game.
Every single one of the starters, from Des Bryant and Murray to
I like
McCown
Murray
and
a lot.
Yep. Forte's a must play.
Forte's a must start. Marshall I like. I even like McCown.
Yeah, there's nobody. Martellus Bennett and Witten are both plays.
Yeah.
They're all plays in this
The only
game.
guy I'm a little down on is Terrence Williams.
And don't play either of the defenses.
Yeah, no, stay away from the defenses. Let's see, anybody else?
Nah, we covered every game.
I think we covered everybody. Christine, we have a minute or two left. Are we done? Okay. All right, we're going to go over this because we can without the
head-to-head.
Without the commander being here today.
Well, the commander's been out of it for a while, but he had a good week last week.
He had a good week last week that we did this. He actually swept. He was 2-0.
First time he swept all year.
He was, yeah.
I believe, right?
He was 2-0. I was 1-1.
And I went 0-2.
Putting me a game up.
Now, and we didn't pick this week, so we'll have to do it for next week.
Well, we can do that right now.
We can do it right now if you want. That's
But
fine.
let's take a quick look at last week. Last week we had.
He was in Aruba. We couldn't pick.
Yes. Well, we could have, but I wouldn't have remembered who I was picking. All right, so last week, Commander 152, I was at 137. You were at 121. You got burned with Gore. You got burned with Andre Johnson.
And Jordy Nelson.
And Jordy Nelson.
Three guys under 10.
That's what kind of cost you. So let's
do it real quick.
Let's do it.
Me versus you.
All right, we're going to do a two-man draft here, and what we'll do is, typically what we do is you cannot draft a player that you had last week, but since we didn't draft last week,
it's all free.
all bets are off.
You make the first pick.
All right, is it my turn?
Yeah, but
You
that's
have a
all.
blank sheet here so we can keep track of this mess?
I got a blank sheet for you.
All right.
Go first.
I am going to go. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to take Calvin Johnson.
Okay. Calvin Johnson off the board already.
Off the board.
I'm going to take Peyton Manning.
You're not afraid of the cold, are you?
No.
All right, I like that. I actually just thought about taking Manning with that.
And then
pick.
I'll go on the reverse on the back end, and I'll take Jamal Charles.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. I almost took Charles just to screw you. All right. All right, I am going to go. I'm going to go. I could probably go tight end here, but if I take one, you'll take the other.
Doesn't really matter.
So I don't think I'm going that way. You already took a quarterback, so I can take my sweet-ass time. I did it again. I'm so sorry. I'm going to take Matt Forte.
Matt Forte off the board. Okay. And
I'm also going to take. I'm going to take Adrian Peterson.
Okay. I'm going to take DeMarco Murray.
That's a good one.
And I'm going to take Deshaun Jackson.
I like that one too.
Okay.
Okay. I've got two running backs. I've got a wide receiver. You know what? I am going to go Des Bryant.
All right.
And I'm going to go. I'm going to go Gronkowski.
And Gronk. Even though I don't really need to do this yet, I'll take Jimmy Graham just to get it over with.
I was hoping you weren't going to do that because I was going to take him as my flex.
I'm going to take Jimmy Graham. And I'm going to take Torrey Smith.
I like Torrey this week. All right. Let's see. I'm going to pick a flex right now. And I'm going to go Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
And because defense can make a difference. Let's see, who's going to throw more picks this week? I think I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens defense.
That's a good pick. I like that one a lot. I'm going to go with Brandon Marshall
All right.
as my flex. And I am going to take, my defense will be the defense from Arizona. I'll take the Cards.
I like that one a lot this week. I'm going to go with Gostkowski as my kicker, and I'm going to go with 200 passes today, Matthew Stafford.
Not a bad pick at all. My kicker will be, who should I go with the kicker? I'm going to take,
I'm going to tell you who
I'll
got me.
take Dan Bailey.
All right.
Who are you going to take?
I was going to tell you to take Tucker.
I'm going to take Dan Bailey.
Because he single-handedly got me in the playoffs last week.
In my league or in another league?
I think it was your league, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And you took the Cards, okay.
Took the Cards.
Now, there's a lot up
bragging rights here.
bragging rights here, because here's
We've
our
known each other
situation.
a long time.
We've known each other a long time. We're not competitive at all.
No.
No, not at all. But here's the situation. Right now, I come into this week at 15-9.
Mm-hmm.
I got you right at my butt at 14-10. So I got you by a game.
And the Commander is 7 games out.
And the Commander's not playing this week. So it's winner take all this week, my friend.
It's 1-0 or 0-1?
It's winner take all this week. And we're going to do a show next week, so...
Here's the thing. I could either be tied with you or 2 games back of you going into the final game.
That's right, my friend. That's right. So we'll...
It'll be fun.
Good luck.
Good luck to you, sir. And
All
good
right,
luck
listen,
to all you guys
good
out
luck
there.
to everybody out there this week, because it's a big week. We wish you all a big win. We hope to see you
absolutely.
next week, because that means you did win. So for Fantasy Football Code Red, Porterhouse,
Admiral.
Commander, the Admiral, and the lovely Christine, we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy.
All right.